Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. Me, 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 Welcome back to Fight Day. Today we have a special bout. In the red corner we have Retro King Kong. In the blue corner we have Retro Godzilla. Who will win in this battle of epic proportions? Kong makes the first move with the boulder throw. Oh, direct hit to the family jewels. Godzilla ate it, but he's pissed. He responds with his atomic breath, exploding the ground in front of Kong. Kong understandably shits himself and backs away while Godzilla laughs his ass off. The smug, cocky bastard. Kong doesn't find atomic breath funny, so he does the mature thing and decides to head to the pub. 3 days later, Kong wakes up from his dodgy bender. He's thinking to himself, fuck me dead, I should not have had all of those Jaeger bombs. Oh no, there's Godzilla. I can't be arsed fighting this wanker. Godzilla's seen him though. Kong's shouting, turn this awkward contraption around. What am I, the grandpa from Up? Oh, the balloon string snaps. He falls onto his coccyx. Now he's doing a slippy slide. Bam! Into Godzilla. Tumble, tumble, tumble away, you fuckwit. Oh dear. Kong realises he hit Godzilla a bit too hard and he scratches his ass and cheeses it out of there. Now he's hiding like a hobbit from a ring wraith, but he's definitely not a hobbit. But you would hide like you would from a dragon that can shoot lasers from his mouth. I would hide. Anyway, Godzilla's mumbling to himself, I was minding me own business when a monkey fell from the sky. Where is he? Where are you, Kong? Having played Mario 64, Kongi has seen an opportunity with Godzilla's tail and he is on it. Godzilla hates it. He's saying, get off my tail, you damn dirty ape. He's given Kong the flick, but Kong strikes back with a boulder again to the chest. He goes for another one, but Godzilla isn't having a bar of it. He hits a home run right in the solar plexus. Kong's got the shits now. He has cracked it. And he coward throws another boulder when Godzilla's back is turned. Ugh, I don't know about that sportsmanship. He's like, hey, what the fuck was that? I wasn't looking, Kong. Now they're cuddling. Kong pegs a rock at Godzilla. Well, he's down, but gets too overexcited and roly-polies head first into a rock, resulting in a concussion. It's like an own goal. Godzilla flicks some rocks onto him. Kong's like, no, my head hurts. Time out. Just get me a couple of Panadol, please. I need to lay down. Let me lay down. Godzilla replies, sure, I could let you have a nap, or I could smash rocks onto you with my tail. Oh, surprise, Kong launches a counterattack, but Godzilla was ready. It's a counter of a counterattack, and he makes Kong do more roly-polies before turning Kong's mild headache into a full-blown fucking migraine. Oh, look at the weather. It's taken a bad turn. Oh, Kong is revived by a lightning strike. That's odd, but it works. Whatever works. Godzilla can't believe the absolute arse pull that has just happened, and going into round 3 is another cuddle. Godzilla's like, what are you doing with that tree? Get that shit out of my face, I hate vegetables. He coughs it back into Kong's face. Kong is thinking, this is getting bloody disgusting. It's feral, as he gets tripped over like an idiot. Just an outright idiot. He should have seen that one coming. Look at Godzilla laughing again. Smug, cocky bastard. That is poor fight etiquette, and Kong agrees, and he responds with an illegal tackle directly off a very steep cliff into the ocean. Okay, Okie dokie, pig in a pokey. Yeah, they're down. I don't think they're coming back up. The actors are wearing costumes that are too heavy, so they're waterlogged. I guess they're drowning. Hopefully there's a safety supervisor on set. Do a bloody atomic breath all over the like button on this one. Yeah, and check out AussieManShop.com for all your merch.
Greetings, my friends. We are gathered here today to remember our dear friend Fluffy.
Fluffy.
I was honored to be Fluffy's personal friend and confidant, Arwen, and whenever he was hatched, and he immediately gave us all an old big hug. Boomer, you're my faithful co-host. How are you doing, man? What do you have to say about our dear friend Fluffy?
Well, I'd like to say I'm handling it well, but I'd just be lying. I'm missing Fluffy, something tragic. Although he disappeared mysteriously around the space ejection chute, and there was in fact no DNA samples, and as if the whole area had been cleaned up like a crime scene. We haven't had time to look in it properly, but we love that spider. Although he was a slightly altered and different from his friends due to the radioactive treatment. Oh, look, I just can't go. I had some words prepared, but it's just too much for me. I think I'm going to have to maybe stall off and pass this along to TT Guy while I go and cower in the corner and curl up in the fetal position and cry. How are you, TT? Are you handling it?
I just can't believe it's happened. I mean, I don't believe it's happened. It's just, I mean, it can't have happened. I mean, because the other night I woke up and I swear I saw Fluffy in the corner. I heard his voice. So, I mean, I just don't think it's happened. I think it's a hoax. I think he's probably, he's faked his own death or something. I just can't believe it. And I'm just so angry at him for leaving us like this. I mean, Fluffy, how could you do it to me, man? How could you do it? I just can't believe it. It's yeah. Anyway, I guess we probably have to go on with the show though at some point. But yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard. I mean, I remember John. Remember John Boomer? He got the first hug from Fluffy, and Fluffy was a little bit excited, and John fell down on the floor, screaming and foaming from his mouth. What a douche! Fuck you, John.
But John used to do that all the time in the holodeck bar anyway. He would always fall down foaming and vomiting out of his mouth. We just thought it was all those Jaeger bombs he had. But apparently, I don't know. He just left. He's a douche, isn't he?
Fucking faking it.
Yeah,
never liked John anyway.
Yeah, just like Mark also just disappeared. He the engineer from the Bullshittian Core near the room where we kept Fluffy. He kind of disappeared on us too. How? Why would you do that? I thought we were a crew. I thought we were a team. Why would you just randomly disappear?
Never liked the guy.
No.
He could have left us a note. He could have left us a note. We always knew he was a fucking douche. Not even a note. That's just so pathetic, isn't it? What other crew? What other crew? John Raps just said John's a fuck. Sorry, I just saw the memoriam thing. I'm sorry, I'm laughing, man. But anyway, somber again.
Well, there was Peter.
Yep.
Yeah, Peter. Fluffy was so upset that Mark was gone that his tummy was upset for days and days and days. So Peter had a look at him, and suddenly Peter grew fangs and started attacking us, and he was just being a fucking dick.
No, he wasn't. Actually, it was fang envy. Yeah. He had fang envy. That's why he wanted to be like Fluffy. He couldn't just put up with Fluffy being the popular dude in the place. He had to try to be Fluffy, and I don't know. He was just another douche. In fact, we're probably better off without them all. They just left on us like that. But anyway.
There's always a chance that he could resurrect, though, Fluffy.
Yeah, maybe.
There is precedent for this.
Well, as those who don't know, he was ejected somewhat suspiciously out through the space garbage ejection unit, but he managed to actually delete all the security camera footage and all of the ship logs data from space, which is actually amazing because we thought he was only into web design, but he could hack computers from deep space as well. So he was a very talented spider. But you can't believe, you who were watching the movie last week, we were so beside ourselves when we saw Fluffy had actually landed on Spider Island. What are the chances of a spider landing on Spider Island? We thought we'd have him, and then fucking Gary. Gary, the biggest douche of all. You can, oh my God, you can take it from here, Arduin. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't even want to think about Gary.
Let's talk about another train wreck in that case. Have you heard about Amazon?
The river?
No, the evil corporation.
Oh, that one, right. The taker of life, not the bringer of life.
Yeah, exactly.
No, do go on about Amazon.
Well, they're trying to get unionized, or to get their employees unionized, and they're gonna vote for. They voted for it earlier this week, and they're still waiting for the results. But Amazon is apparently not that happy that they were trying to unionize and protesting and stuff like that.
Yeah, how unusual for the company to be not keen on people unionising. Yeah, because that's always going to be bad for the workers, right? If they unionise, yeah, we'll just convince them that being a union is bad, right? Yeah.
However, I hear a rumor that we're going to be releasing the results if people hit the like button. I don't know about that. Have you heard that, Arduin or TT? Is it a like button relative thing?
That we could have secret access to the Amazon union vote.
We may have, but we
could have.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we need people to like and acknowledge that they want us to pass this information along.
That's pathetic.
I've got to say, my shilling has hitting new lows of shamelessness. I'm even impressed myself at how low that one got and how blatant and transparent it was. I do have to add one too, guys. It's a little interesting experience, but I went into a hotel on Friday night and put down 3 nails on the counter and said, "Can you put me up for the night?" Yeah, it was Good Friday jokes anyway.
Oh man, that joke would still be bad after 3 days.
It was. I just tried it, and it was. Well, we haven't got the card game tonight. We don't have Sarcastic Barman's card game to ditch all these jokes. So what are we going to do with them? We could get constipated.
Happy Zombie Jesus Day. Happy Zombie Jesus Day to everyone. Yes, there could be blasphemy in this stream, so be warned.
Yeah, so did you know that if Jesus was real, they wouldn't have called it a crucifixion. They would have called it a crucifact.
Okay, yep. I'll score that one, yep.
It was worse the second time around too. I like it. Okay, it's always good.
Oh, that was new to me. I was a virgin to that joke, so you just
We threw you in. Hey, and I did get another little bit of Star Wars input too, guys. But apparently they call Darth Vader Lord Vader around the Star Wars Imperial traps because when they call him Master Vader, all the stormtroopers kept on chuckling.
Oh man.
Okay.
So
before
Easter, the super original holiday.
The story, yep. The super unique storyline.
Yeah.
That no other gods have had.
Boomer had something else first,
right.
I think.
Oh, did I? Oh, okay.
Oh, I thought you said before we get to... Okay, yeah, sure.
No, move along.
Nothing to see here, folks. Respect my authority.
Sorry, it's just Jin's flogging his zombie shop again. Jin, zombies don't buy shit. They just come and take it. I told him when he started that zombie shop, it wasn't going to pay. But no, you have to let him do it. You've got to let him fail, haven't you? Sorry, guys. Jin just distracted me in the chat like he always does.
That is
he said he didn't touch
absolutely fine.
penis. Yeah, and he said he didn't touch the button with his penis again, but the DNA samples prove otherwise. So just be careful with that one, Jin. Okay, so what are we suggesting, that perhaps the church may have not actually made up Jesus himself and stole it from someone else? Because if you're going to make shit up, you really should make your own shit up, shouldn't you? You shouldn't take other people's made up shit.
And of course, the idea is of course absolutely not unique. Right? Even cultures that haven't been in contact with each other have had their own resurrection stories, and one of them is are the ancient Norwish religions that had a cool story about Balder the Good, that a god that almost resurrected.
Okay.
Right.
I don't know this story.
So balder, meaning hairless. Like, is he balder than someone else, or is he just balder than someone with hair? But anyway, I'll not even go up that gag. Let's roll the tape, eh?
Okay. What?
3, 2, 1.
Give me a moment.
Hey.
So is this almost resurrected? It's a little bit like nearly dead, just a little bit dead.
Oh no! I know what happened. My.
Oh, Micro's kicking in a bit.
This is the story of Balder the Good. Balder was the oldest son of Odin and Frigga, rulers of the gods in Asgard. This is the story of Balder the Good.
Sorry.
Balder was the oldest son of Odin and Frigga, rulers of the gods in Asgard. He was the most beautiful and beloved of all the gods, for he was fair and just to everyone. He had a wife named Nanna, and they had a son named Forseti. And Forseti became the most just of all the gods who ever lived. It is said that when the great lawmakers of Iceland sat down to write their codes of justice, Forseti sat among them and told them what to write. Balder also had a brother. His name was Hoder. But Hoder had been born blind.
Hoder, he was really good at holding the door.
No one knew his thoughts. One day, Frigga, Balder's mother, began to have terrible dreams about the death of her favorite and eldest son. And so, to reassure herself, she traveled throughout the lands and took an oath from every living thing that it would not hurt Balder. And everything agreed, for all things love the light, and all things loved Balder the Beautiful. Reassured by the oath she had taken, she returned to Asgard.
So he was a bit of a popular
There,
guy.
all the gods rejoiced, as the best and beloved of them could never die. And to prove the oaths, they began to make sport. One of them took up a stone and threw it, seeing what would happen. But the stone bounced off harmlessly, for it had taken an oath not to hurt Balder.
Magic.
The other gods joined in the sport. They threw everything they could think of at him. Stones, sticks, clods of dirt, earthenware vessels, bits of food, leaves, branches, thorny roses. Everything bounced away harmlessly. And Balder
Leaves too.
It sounds like,
Wow.
it sounds like me
Then
and Jim Panda Server.
brother of Odin, the mischievous and sinister one, whose motives no one could ever quite figure out. He saw the attention that Balder was receiving, and he became very jealous. Disguising himself as an old woman, he went to Frigga.
You see,
"Tell me, mistress," he said.
sometimes I kind of vibe with Loki. You
They're
know,
doing honor to my son
everyone
Balder.
loves that. Everyone
For
loves
all
that
the
good,
things
and
that
Loki
taken
is
oath
like,
not to
no,
hurt me.
I don't like him.
And they're rejoicing in his invulnerability. "Are you quite sure everything's taken the oath?" Loki asked. "That you didn't overlook some small object?" "All but the mistletoe," Frigga said. "It was so young and harmless, I did not think it right to ask." Loki fled then, shedding his disguise as he went, and he searched all over the world until he found it.
That doesn't
tiny,
spell
innocent,
doom at all.
tiny, harmless.
Yeah.
We
One of those
can't
God
really
stories
well
has
to
such
heal you.
shitty. They have all the shitty plot holes. There's always these shitty plot holes in the
Yeah.
God
He went
stories,
back to where
man.
the gods were still playing sport with Balder. And off to one side, he saw
I wish
Hoder.
this chicken lay off the helium, but hey, what can I say?
"Why do you not do honor to your brother, like all the rest?" he asked. "Alas," Hoder answered, "I cannot see where to throw." "Take this dart," Loki offered, "and I will show you in what direction he stands." The other gods made way when they saw that it was Balder's brother. and Loki stood behind him and showed him where to throw. Unwitting, unaware, Hoder drew back his arm and let fly the dart. Straight and true, it flew towards Balder, and then it struck his breast, and it pierced him to the heart. Stunned, the gods watched.
It's a very strange sound.
And fell.
Yeah.
Blood blossomed out of his chest. No one noticed.
I also love it that
Hoder
they're
stood, his arms
gods,
still raised
but one
for
of
the
the
throw, and no
gods
one
is
turned to
blind,
ask him.
and they can't guard
What had
away
he
his
done?
blindness.
Speechless, they looked at one another.
It was
You just gotta
really-
have faith, man.
Yeah, it's
And then that great, glad
they're
assembly,
really, the gods were really inclusive back then.
and then all of
Like, yeah, there's a
Asgard.
blind god and a cripple god, you know.
They built a great ship for Baldur's funeral pyre. They filled it with all the gold and wealth and treasures. They placed on it the ring Draupnir, the precious ring that belonged to Odin, that dropped 8 more of itself on every 9th night. Flowers they hurled upon it. Women took off their jewelry and piled it upon Baldur's
How
corpse.
valuable
In
is that
heartbreak,
ring
Mana
if
threw
it
herself
drops
across
8
his body
more of
and
itself every so many
Then they
nights?
pushed it into the water. And they set it on fire.
Mm.
It must have been thousands of
And the
those
most
rings.
beautiful and the most beloved of all the gods was Baldur.
I think it's a bit ring, a Bitcoin ring.
Yeah.
And then Frigga spoke.
Is it just
This
as
is a
bad
long
for the environment as
We'll
Bitcoin?
venture into Niflheim. We'll brave
Really?
the terrors of the halls of hell. And we'll beg the Queen of the Dead to bring my son
Microraptor's onto it.
back to me.
She's a boulder worshipper.
Yeah.
But nobody spoke,
Yeah, thanks, Micro.
for no living soul had ever gone to Niflheim and returned. The silence stretched on. And then Hermod spoke. If you will lend me Sleipnir, the best of all horses, then I will go. And so he set out that very night. And he rode without stopping until he came to the Giol, the great river that runs to the underworld. And he crossed the bridge that only the dead can cross. And he passed the hellhounds, and he rode through the gate. And he came at last to Hel, daughter of Loki, queen of the dead, mighty and terrible in her power. For what reason have you come here, she demanded, a living soul to my realm?
I didn't invite you, you know. If you told me you've come, I would have made tea.
You reckon the Bridge of Death only and the Hellhounds might have been a giveaway, but nah, let's go, Morgan.
Show mercy. Send him back. And Hel said, if it is true that everything weeps for Balder, then do this, and I will return him. Let everything weep in all the realms. Let there not be one dry eye in Asgard, in Midgard, in Elfheim. If he
Set
is
up a
truly
trail or
so
what?
beloved, if he is truly so mourned, then I, the Queen of the Dead, will not stand against all of creation, and Balder shall return to the land of the living.
It's. I mean, what about if someone is just not a crier?
He rode back
You
to
know?
Asgard with the news.
Like,
And
I'm
straightway
sad,
Frigga
but
and all the rest
just
of the
don't
gods
cry.
traveled throughout the realms to bid all things
Yeah.
weep for Balder. And all things obeyed her command, and they tore their hair, and they lay in the dust and the dirt, not eating, not sleeping, not singing or laughing, only weeping, for the light of the world was gone. And then they came to a cave, and in that cave sat a great and hideous giantess named Thok. And they asked her, as they had asked so many others,
I couldn't give a
to weep
fuck.
for Balder.
Just an official yellow card to Jen. If you got that diagnosis off our set list, buddy, you'll be barred from the fucking room. From something for nothing. Watch yourself. Throwing out spoilers
No
like
matter how
that.
much she treated, no matter how much they begged,
Yep, that's a yellow card on Jen.
she would not be changed. And so Balder was lost the second time. And it is said that the giantess was Loki in disguise, and thus he was twice guilty for the death of the most beautiful and beloved of gods. That it was Loki who was the true slayer of Balder the Good.
And that was the
Loki.
story of Balder Good, the god that was almost resurrected, but then just did
Yeah.
it because of one giantess that could not be Loki.
So yeah, I didn't hear that because Boom was talking over it, but I guess I thought that's where they're going. The giantess wouldn't cry.
Yeah, the giantess
Oh,
refused
sorry.
to cry.
The giantess refused to
Oh, sorry, I
cry.
had to do my,
Yeah.
No,
had
it's
to
all
do my
right.
yellow card. I couldn't do the bell. Yeah.
But, I was impressed by that performance of that chick though. She was good. Doesn't look like she was reading off anything. She knew the story, man.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
impressive.
Yep.
that was actually kind of good. Yeah, I'll post a link in chat. There you go. Go
Credit
check her
that
out.
chick.
You know,
She's probably has more stories like this.
She's
Yeah.
big
The
into the whole
backdrop could've-
mythology there.
Yeah, backdrop could have been a little bit better. I reckon if she'd have done that, adding one of those nice little forests with some rocks and moss and all good stuff around, it would have actually been quite a nice impactor. But anyway,
Well,
we'll give
you
her
could've bought
points on that, won't we?
You send her some money for a green screen, I guess. Yeah, she needs a green screen. But
Well,
so
you can do
yeah,
that by just getting a green mattress. But anyway,
all right.
a sheet
yeah.
rather. Yeah.
Green sheet, yeah. Yeah, so that was interesting. A lot of the hellhounds and all that. That's kind of made it into to Western mythology too, hasn't it? Really, that's
I gotta say,
Yeah,
I
it's
gotta
very
tell you that it sounds like a kick-ass movie.
yeah.
Yeah. So give us just the basics of it there, Art. That's Nordic sort of Woden type stuff, or does that predate Woden? Because I seem to remember the Vikings came over a couple of eras. So is this like really early Nordic stuff?
It was pretty. From what I could tell, it was pretty early Nordic stuff. Yeah, like Odin. Oh yeah, Odin, and they didn't even mention Thor. Maybe because Thor is not important in this story, but maybe because by the time they made this story, Thor, the god of thunder thing wasn't even a thing yet.
Yeah, I mean, because I wonder.
God of Thunder has been a known ratings winner across the decades. We would have written God of Thunder in if we had him, I'm sure. So yeah, sorry, TT guy. You
I know.
you
I was just kind of wondering, who made up these stories. It's all, you've got to think about what's the politics behind them. So Thor might not have been around because the guy that made up this story wanted to say that, Balder was his ancestor, and that's why you've got to, obey my laws because my laws were laid down by my God. That is in my story. So that could be another reason why we didn't hear about Thor because, Thor's the competitor's crew's God. Yeah.
And everyone loves Balder. Every living thing loves.
And he was the best god, right? He was the most just god, and everyone loved him. Yeah, that's right. You got to tell stories like that. Yeah.
And according to Microraptor, he was the goodest. He was the gooderest of all the good gods.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Micro has also brought up another one of Woden and Odin. Yes, they are both the same. It depends on what bit of culture. But Wednesday, it was Woden's day, so we think the W might be the later and most popular one. But Odin and Woden are the same dude.
Well, sometimes I go shopping.
Centrelink. Yeah.
Sometimes I go shopping at Woden. Sometimes I go shopping at Woden Plaza in Canberra. So I wonder if that's named. Do you think that's named after a Norse god?
Well, you shop there, so you tell us. We don't go reading the fucking plaques around the place.
I don't know. That's the first I've heard of Woden as a Norse god. So I'll just have to do some research on that. Yeah.
But what I also like from the story was like this guy is invulnerable, and all the gods are like, oh really? Let's test this out for like hours and hours on end.
And what was the story about the bit about the mistletoe? They didn't ask the mistletoe whether it would refuse to,
because it was so young and innocent that she couldn't bother with asking the mistletoe.
And they also asked the rocks. They asked the rocks whether they'd refuse to damage him.
Yeah.
Yeah. The rocks with consciousness. All right. Okay. Yep. But man, yep. It's myth stories, man. They're crazy. It's almost as crazy as, virgins giving birth and shit. But anyway, yeah.
And I'll tell you what, the other thing, at least Woden didn't go ghost sleeping with women to have kids. Isn't that just a little bit creepy? Like, as a god, you can just chat up with them and get consent. You don't need to sneak in there as a ghost late at night and hump them in their sleep. But anyway, whatever floats your boat as a god, you get to be a god for those reasons. And it looks like John Rapp may be a god, so let's just be a little bit careful when we flip the bird to him, okay, guys?
Oh. Well, I stand to remember that we had a whole national anthem for him.
A what?
Yeah, we had a whole national anthem with a salute for him.
All right.
You know, the trumpet,
We did.
the trumpet thing, and then the middle finger appearing.
Oh, the original one. Yes, that was on a different place. That was a different overseas posting for us, wasn't it? I can't seem
Yeah.
to remember the name of that posting, but yes,
No,
TT guy
it
probably
was-
didn't see that one.
No, that CT guy doesn't know about that.
No, I'm not. I don't know what you're talking about. No, it's all a bit over my head. But
Right.
I believe you.
But yeah, then that was a really interesting story. Did you guys hear
Indeed.
about the Mesopotamians? They also had they also did something with resurrections.
No, I don't
Okay.
know. What I know about history would fit into my little farm, really. So I'm loving these streams that we
Okay,
go all
well-
history.
All right, quick little background for those possibly up to, I remember this from school. So obviously the chat are going to correct me because they seem to be on to me every time I get a word wrong. Mesopotamia was between Tigris and Euphrates rivers, modern day Iraq, with the little bit down the bottom called Q8 cut out after the British got there, and just happens to be where all the oil is. So if you cut out Q8, that is Iraq, and that was a dank river valley where most life forms sprung from in the early days. So that was Mesopotamia. And I don't think Baghdad was the capital, or if it was in a slightly different location. And that was where the Great Library, which got destroyed, might have been as well. So that's a quick little bit on Mesopotamia, modern day Iraq, and a place the US love to go and bomb and cuddle as much as they can. So anyway,
What about
that's my bit. Anyone else
what
got
about
anything?
What about the Great Library of Alexandria? Is that the same place you're talking about? Because
Different
that's
library.
not Iraq. Different library, yeah. Oh, yeah, because I mean,
Yeah,
I think
no, the bag. Yeah, there were two great libraries, and one definitely was in Mesopotamia. Yeah, and Micro just brought it up. Swedish, it's Odin, and that's probably a good call. The Swedish translation, and it got into Wednesday because Wednesday was Woden's day. So there's definitely the W when they were naming it after the days, because Thursday was Thor's day, Friday was Friar's day, who eludes me, and I can't remember the other two. Moon was Moon's day. So Woden and Wedden are definitely the same, but the Swedish translation may have just dropped the W or something, or we added a W. Anyway, a bit of crossbred history there for us. Thanks, Micro.
Yes.
Cradle of civilization.
Different library,
Thanks, mate.
John. Different library, John. Hey, by the way, Admiral Nelson had two legs too. So don't jump on me, John. It was a different library. And Alexandria's library did get destroyed too, but there was one in Baghdad or thereabouts in Mesopotamia. Okay, moving along. They're all Googling it now.
Howdy, chaps. It's been a while. Apologize for that, but let's talk about Ereshkigal, Mesopotamian goddess, the underworld, and all that good guys. It's said that those who enter the underworld,
Hubba.
man or god, cannot leave, and
Yeah.
its
How much
queen
fun you
wasn't to be
Oh!
trifled with. She saw to it that
Yeah.
wrongdoers were just
That looks like my Skyrim character.
The son or servant Namtar was a demon called
Ooh,
Death.
hubba.
Or Namtar may have also been a god whose name meant destiny or fate, and was a son of the god Enlil as well. Ereshkigal herself could also free those who were possessed of evil spirits on the earth, and was also something of a motherly figure in the pantheon generally. She's known as the Lady of the Great Earth and Queen of the Great Below as some of her titles, so yeah, probably not someone you want to mess with. But Ereshkigal was the daughter of Anu, the Mesopotamian personification of the sky, and was born when Anu shed a tear when separated from his sister consort lover, Ki, the earth itself. When the tear mixed with Namu's primeval
Leave your
waters,
top beard, though.
Ereshkigal was born.
Yeah.
Gotta protect your beard,
It's not
man.
all that surprising that she's a pretty significant goddess.
I'm jealous of the beard.
Ereshkigal's younger sister, Ayana, sought to observe the funeral rites of Gugalana, Ereshkigal's husband. Now, as I said before, the underworld isn't exactly a normal place where
Is that
you
Minecraft?
just go and come.
Looks
It's a
like it.
come and
Minecraft
go.
world.
But anyway, Ayana demands entry into the underworld. But before she does, she instructs Nisubur, her sort of helper
Oh, that's not a bad set of jokes on it.
and tells her
Lovely
what
jokes.
to do should she not return in time. Nettie, the gatekeeper, was quickly ordered by Ereshkigal to bolt the 7 gates of the underworld shut and to only open each in succession. As each gate was opened, Ayana was instructed to remove one piece of her clothing. Crown,
Ooh.
necklace, among other royal garments. By the time that she reached the 7th gate, she was almost
Hello,
completely
ladies.
naked. So when she passed through the gate, she was completely defenseless because, being naked was a sign of her having sort of, not much powers about her. Because in the pantheon generally,
Yeah.
Ayana is a pretty powerful goddess, which made what happened next pretty much child's play. So the judges of the underworld deemed Ayana guilty of a bunch of different crimes and insults, rudenesses, things
doesn't
along
look
those
naked
lines.
there.
And Ayana was quickly struck dead and then
I
left
feel
hanging
cheated.
from a hook for all to see. Ayana's loyal minister, Ninspur,
Okay.
realized something was up and then decided to go to Enki to plead with the god to rescue the goddess, which he did and sent some sexless beings to revive Ayana. Now, by sexless, I literally
look
just mean
that
that they are
sexless to
neither male
me.
nor female. Not
They
other.
look pretty
Like,
sexy.
so what these guys do is they enter the
Yeah.
underworld,
Well,
and lucky for them,
I have to
Queen of
say
the
that I
Underworld
really
is
love
having
that
some
they
labor pains. So in some way or another, they end up relieving the pains and
acknowledge that's
helping
what
out
everyone else says.
Ereshkigal, and in return, she offers them one thing that they would ask for. So they pretty easily are able to claim the corpse. With that, they're also able to revive Ayana with water of life and some food of life as well, and then they proceed to leave the underworld. Tricky thing about this is, as I said, those that enter the underworld are not supposed to leave. So the band
Okay.
is pursued by a bunch of demons. All the demons really wanted was just Ayana to go back. They didn't seem too concerned with whether the sexless beings return. But Ayana does escape and returns to safety. And when she does return, the demons are following her, and they expect that if Ayana doesn't go back, that someone goes back in her place. Ayana's minister was wearing sort of robes that indicated that she was grieving the loss of her goddess. So Ayana didn't want her sort of taken. A bunch of other gods and beings important to Ayana, or perhaps not even that important to Ayana, were still sort of mourning her passing by wearing these specific clothes. But the one
volunteer
person that
boomer
didn't was a
tribute.
god called Dumuzid. The ironic thing about
What
that
have I
was
done?
that
Sorry.
Dumuzid was her husband, and he didn't seem to mind the fact that she died. In fact, he was just sat up on the throne in shimmering armor, not symbolic of mourning. Because it was a bit of an insult, he was sent back to the underworld in her stead. And that's how the story
Okay.
ends. Now, I did tell another story, including Ereshkigal. It's another significant myth, including her. And another
I was just volunteering you, Boomer, to go back in her stead, but it looks like he chose someone
Oh,
else. So
okay.
you're off. You're
No,
off.
I was. Oh,
You
no,
weren't
the problem
listening.
with that guy was his voice. Yeah, no, because I was reading the chat. That guy's voice seemed to make it a bit, I don't know, kill me now. A good clip to slash your wrist by. But I couldn't help but notice John Rapp. Now, here's a man who one stuff up of leaving his phone open and timing everyone out on Team Skeptic got him saluted for a good year and a half of the John Root salute. He's put up on the screen, hey, someone's metadata's on the screen. And then about 4 comments later, it's got, oops, it's mine. John, you just don't learn, do you? What are you doing? He put his metadata up. What does that even mean?
Yeah, well, sometimes people's metadata is pretty, interesting. Yeah.
I think we got
Okay,
a small
well-
peek of a goddess's metadata.
Yeah.
Okay.
My wife's got quite nice metadata.
Well, I haven't seen any metadata for so long. I still don't even know if I'm heterosexual, but who knows? We've also been getting lots of stuff in there. I noticed Colin's dropped in. Look, Colin, I'm going to tell you, we only did the monkey deer porn video once. So if you're coming here for your monkey deer porn video needs, this is probably not the place for you. We only do that once. But
I
you're
can
welcome
supply a
to
link,
say.
mate.
How are you, Colin?
I still hate you, Colin.
Yeah. During today's US stream too, I managed to bring that one up on Sprinkles too. I reminded him about the monkey deer porn episode where both Colin and him turned up at the start, and he went, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that." So how into monkey deer porn is he? He forgot about coming to see us, so he's obviously watching a few more than he's letting on. Anyway,
Right.
speaking of which, Sprinkles and I are on Fight the Fight Earth's Stupidity is Not a Right tomorrow too. So Team Bunker 33 are going to be throwing the challenge out to Team Planet Walk and Team Canada. It's a New Zealand Canadian contingent. What are they going to do? Polite us to death or something? This is looking good. Sprinkles and I and Reg Rhetoric. So for those of you who are up in a few hours, Fight the Flat Earth Stupidity's Not a Right. It's worth a quick plug.
Sorry guys, one moment.
We just got a warning. YouTube has said we're sending around the assassins. We're going to be kneecapping. Yeah?
No. I actually pulled the plug from my headphones and I couldn't hear you guys.
Oh yeah. I found interesting about that last thing was how often, you know, gods and all these stories never get conceived the old-fashioned way. They've always got to have some weird fucking shit about how the god got conceived. So what was this one? Someone shed a tear. I don't have to go back and play that. It's just fucking weird.
Yeah,
shed a tear, landed somewhere, and
landed on the earth, and the tear got mixed with the earth, and
it's like the how'd you get pregnant? From a swimming pool, right? That's probably the story. That's sort of like, yeah. I'm still a virgin. I don't know how I got pregnant. It must have been from the swimming pool.
Yeah.
Well, look, it's interesting you bring it up, TT, because I've worked out. I also wondered, how can you sort of fall for this knowledge apple, talking snake, sky fairy sort of stuff when it's not quite right? And that generally puts a lot of people off at the beginning. That in itself is a vetting method, because anyone who's silly enough to believe it is probably silly enough to buy shit. Now, I'm going to cross-relate this back to Patricia Spear from Flat Earth, another hot potatoes. She apparently used to work for a marketing company. And the whole theory was, let's throw the Flat Earth shit out there, because if they're dumb enough to believe that, they're dumb enough to buy any old shit. And she was a network marketer. So we believe that it's just a method of, if you're dumb enough to go there, if you're dumb enough to believe it, we're dumb enough to sell you shit like that. Anyway, on that note, would anyone like to buy some healing crystals here? I've got some wonderful amethyst. That's good for your well-being and health. I've got some other purple stuff that I don't know, and I've got some green ones too. So anyone wants to buy a healing crystal?
Organite, I can bring. Stop chemtrails.
What I would like, Boomer, is maybe some beer.
Some beer. Well, you know, being a crucifixion, being a crucifixion weekend where apparently some guy 2,000 years ago got nailed up to a cross, and we get 4 days to go and drink beer and ride dirt bikes, I reckon you're right on it. But we've got to sort of appreciate the moment and show respect. So if we were to have, say, something that combined Jesus with beer, I think we'd be working within the realms of our relative religions. What do you think, guys? Can we come up with something like that?
That would be great.
You couldn't mix Jesus and beer, surely. That would be sacrilegious.
Wow.
You might offend the Catholic Church. You might offend the Catholic Church and get free publicity from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you mix Jesus and beer.
Arduin pulls all sorts of shit out of his ass, and some of it's actually useful. So let's see what you got. Why don't you roll the tape?
Yes. See you guys in a little bit for a small break. Bye.
Luca Pagney wrote on the Paddy Power Facebook page, betting on this football only if a miracle heals it. Well, we hear you, Luca, and we've been praying for you. And our prayers have been heard. The crippled, miraculously healed. Empty stadiums, not anymore. And the match fixers, out of the temple. Bet on a resurrected football at paddypower.it, the new online and mobile betting service. We hear you, Luca Pagney.
Excuse me, down here. Hey, can I ask you a question?
Yes, my son. I am here for you. Literally.
Have you thought about maybe becoming an organ donor?
Is this really the best time to bring this up?
Oh, we get it. You know, no one wants to talk about death. But, you know, not all of us are going to the eternal paradise, and your organs could save the lives of up to 6 people.
Seven people. Not to mention how your bones and soft tissue and ligaments could change the lives of many others.
And corneas will help blind people see.
What a miracle!
Obviously, I would do it. I'm Jesus.
Yes, you're Jesus, you know. Yeah, you've helped the lepers. But this is very specific.
How?
What, have you gone online and signed the organ donor registry?
The organ what?
The organ donor registry.
Isn't it on my license?
It used to be. Now you got to go online, but it's very simple.
Common misconception. Except in South Australia, that's still on the license.
South Australia.
Have you got a smartphone?
Of course we have a smartphone, and we've taken the liberty of pre-filling the form. So all you got to do is press the little button.
Bring it here.
Just stretch that little finger.
There you go. One more.
Oh, nice.
Thank you, Jesus. You're a good guy.
Is that it then?
Oh, sorry, there's one more little thing.
What?
Your family has to be on board for this.
Really?
We've also anticipated this bit, and we have a surprise for you. Here's your mum and dad.
Hello, Mother. Hello, earthly father. Did you follow all this?
Yeah, we got the general gist of it. You want to be an organ donor?
We think that's awesome.
Happy now?
We are so proud of the work that you've done today. You're going to change the lives of so many people. Do you mind if I get a selfie?
Why not?
Ah, yes, thanks so much.
3, 2, 1.
Organ donors. Yeah, nice. Hey,
listen.
hashtag register.
Hashtag dying to live.
Hashtag blessed.
Haha. Hashtag blessed, you said. Nailed it.
See you, Jesus. Thanks again.
Here's a beer you gotta try, a beer so bold and true. And when you know who drinks this beer, you'll want to drink it too. Jesus Beer.
Table for 13, please. This is my body. This is my blood. And this is my beer.
The King of Kings of Beer.
From a guy who washed away your sins comes a beer to wash away your thirst.
Jesus Beer.
Jesus Christ, that's good beer.
Jesus Beer.
We're back.
Well, speaking of organ donating, and my favourite organ donor is you, Arduin, guys, I've got to point out organ donating. Please do it. You never know when I'm going to need a kidney. And being a baby boomer, it's my actual driving that creates the organs that keep us alive. Thank you, Simpsons, for that one.
Yes, I've been an organ donor on the list for a long time, and then I went and watched that. That ad was implying maybe my organ donation is now, null and void. I've got to do it again or something. So I don't know. It's all very confusing. I have this card that I've had in my wallet for about probably 25 years. So.
Here they actually not too long ago, a couple of years ago, they actually changed this that you're automatically registered unless you.
Awesome!
Otherwise.
That's you opt out.
Yeah.
And Holland went that way. Oh, that's fucking awesome. That's what I mean. They keep blathering on about not enough organ donors, but they're too gutless to go opt out. So how did that go down? Did that was that a real controversial or?
Yeah, a little bit, because a lot of people that just didn't like that it was decided for them, essentially.
But it fucking wasn't decided for them. You opted out.
Exactly.
Bricks. Jesus Christ.
And I have seen people who said I was registered, but now as a principal I opted out.
Yeah, but I mean, I bet the number of people do that was minor. I mean, there'd be a large pool of apathy people that are in now. I mean, how long ago did this happen?
Oh, well, honestly, I don't know anymore, because it was less than 9-10, because it was before my dad passed away.
All right.
I mean, it was after my dad passed away. Yeah.
Guys, I've got some news. Guys, I'm sorry, I'm so excited. I just went down to the tomb to cry a bit and put flowers on Fluffy's grave, and someone's pushed the stone out of the way. And Fluffy's body, it's like it's been a miracle. I think Fluffy lives. I'm not sure.
Hallelujah.
Go down and have a look, please. Hallelujah. It's an Easter miracle. We've had a resurrection.
I think it was just some mad scientist want to do experiment. I'll send a couple of Italian cosplayers after to investigate. And it will
furries. Or furries. I think furries being into Fluffy.
Was Fluffy an organ donor? Because that could have also been the case. The organ dudes might have came back to make a withdrawal. I'm not sure. Either way, there's some sort of shenanigans happened down at Fluffy's too.
that beer had me wondering. There must have been beer. Must have come from somewhere. Like some god must have taught us how to brew beer.
Is that right? Comes from God. It is the gift of the gods.
No. I just remember in the beginning there was breweries. Isn't that the first sort of? That's what I seem to remember. Or maybe it's sort of bloke down the pub told me.
Yeah, that's probably a probably drunk guy at the pub. No. Of course, but I mean, what else than beer is God given?
You know, I've got this sort of thought that one day there were two like cavemen sitting on a rock after a big night on the piss. And you know, you're still a bit hungover and, you know, hair of the dog kind of thing. And someone's walked up and noticed a really odd rock. You know, like one of those things that the glaciers had dropped, and it sort of made like an obelisk-y thing. And what's that then? And we'd look together and burn half drunk and go, yeah, we put that up there last night. We were really tough. Oh, did you? Oh, you must be excellent. And from there, religion was born. You know, any way to bullshit someone else to get advantage was always going to be it, wasn't it? So they really had better organised religion in the older days because they did worship things that mattered, like animals and hunting and eating. And it did sort of come out of, well, a degree of ignorance, but it also had really good, humble beginnings, like the Bushmen of the Kalahari who run down their prey over a couple of days. When they're about to kill the animal, they do actually respect the fact they're taking its life. And although that animal's giving its life, it's part of the whole ecosystem. And I think what's happened is in the bastardisation of it, it's become more me. Because I've noticed some of the people who go to church on a Sunday kind of act like douchebags the rest of the week because God lets them off on Sunday. But I really don't think that was the whole beginning of it.
Don't get me started.
That's nothing new, Berman. That's nothing.
Don't get me started. Small side story. We have two churches here that in different towns that are going fully open again without restrictions, and of course some journalists went to those churches and kind of interviewed the churchgoers, asking them what the fuck they were thinking. and those journalists were physically harassed.
Can't ask that question, huh?
Yeah,
guys, look,
physically
I'm sorry.
assaulted by people who were refusing to answer why they were going to church with hundreds of people during a pandemic.
What would Jesus do?
And then the church leaders were going to the police to file a report for harassment to the journalist.
Look, guys, I've got to interject, but we've got some interplay in the chat saying that John Rapp and Fluffy could be a couple. I'd really like you to pay due respect to the up until recently dead Fluffy. Come on, guys, think of Fluffy. I mean, John will go for anyone, but Fluffy does have standards. So, we keep the rumours, you had if you could, maybe keep them, and not so public. But John, if you're going near Fluffy, watch out. I think Fluffy could be taken. And if not, you're in for a surprise.
John is quite shy. I heard he does it with the coffin lid down.
Oh. Let's just go quickly to the beer god, guys, before we go completely off the rails.
Yeah, legal department says yes.
Long before Ra, the sun god, had grown old and had left Earth to dwell solely in the sky, he had ruled the Earth and all of its inhabitants. He was able to see enough of the future to realize that any children by Nut, the goddess of the sky, would overthrow him as king.
Would be Caucasian.
With his great power, Ra commanded that Nut should not be able to bear any child on any day of the year. This curse greatly distressed Nut. She knew that it could not be reversed. She consulted Thoth, a god of wisdom, education, and writing. If anyone could solve her curse, it was him. Thoth reasoned a way to get around Ra's command. In the act of superior cunning, he challenged Khonsu, the moon god, to a contest of checkers. For each game that Thoth would win, Khonsu had to give up a tiny portion of his light. Game after game, Thoth continued to win, and Khonsu ultimately lost a significant percentage of his light. Finally, Khonsu would play no longer. Thoth gathered up all the light he had won, and from it fashioned 5 additional days that would belong to no year. Until then, the year had consisted of 360 days, the number of degrees in a circle. These new days would become festival days between one year and the next. Because of the losses, Khonsu could no longer shine at a constant brightness throughout the month, but would have to grow dimmer toward the end of each month, and could only grow in brightness after the end of each month. Finally, Nut was able to have children. On the first festival day, she bore Osiris. Then, on each successive day, she gave birth to another god, Horus the Elder, Seth, Isis, and Nephthys. Ra's curse had been fulfilled to the letter, but it had also been defeated on a technicality. When Osiris came of age, he married his sister Isis. Seth married Nephthys.
Yes.
Osiris, through the wisdom of his wife, became king of all Egypt, a land called in the early days Kemet, from Kum, which means black, like the dark, rich soil of the Nile flooding. Humans had not yet discovered agriculture, and frequently had turned to cannibalism in order to survive. They were a violent, warring lot, and this greatly distressed Isis.
Sounds like Louisiana.
She discovered wild wheat and barley, which grew throughout the land. Osiris developed methods of cultivating these as crops, and taught humans the art of agriculture. He also taught them how to bake bread from the wheat, and how to brew beer from the barley.
Thanks,
He taught them the art of music and poetry. With every good thing that Osiris and his wife did for the people of the world, Set became more and more envious. The more people loved the God King and his wife, the more Set wanted to destroy them and to take the place of his brother on the throne. Osiris had gone on a long trip to other nations to spread the knowledge of civilization to other people. Isis ruled while he was away. When the king returned, Set was among the first to welcome his brother back. But the younger, jealous god had conspired with 72 of his wicked friends to defeat Osiris. Set had obtained the exact dimensions of his older brother and had commissioned the construction of an elaborate box to be made of cedar and ebony, plus gold and ivory. In celebration of his brother's return, Set threw the richest possible feast and invited his most loyal friends. After Osiris had grown relaxed and happy with song, food, and wine, Set brought out the elegant chest he had commissioned. He announced to the crowd that he would give this fine box to whoever would fit inside the chest perfectly. Several of the guests tried to fit within the finely made chest, but some were too short, too tall, too fat, or too thin. Finally, Osiris asked if he could try out the box. As the king hunkered down into the box, all of the guests gathered around in anticipation. Osiris cried out that the fit was snug. "The chest is mine." Set hissed with glee. "Yes, my brother, and it will be yours forever." With that, Set slammed the lid down, and as many guests as could reach the box helped to nail the lid shut. They sealed every crack with molten lead and tossed the chest into the Nile.
Mr. Bond.
The river carried the chest downstream, and it came to rest at the base of a tamarisk tree. Soon, the tree grew around the chest, hiding it from view. The mayor of the town saw that the tree had grown more beautiful than any other and claimed it for himself, not realizing that it contained the body of Osiris. Isis looked far and wide for her husband's body, following all of the clues. She came to the town where the tamarisk tree grew. Isis, in disguise, went to work for the mayor's wife. While there, she grew fond of their children and offered to make one of them immortal. While she was passing the child through flame to burn away the mortal flesh, the mother attacked Isis, not understanding the great honor the goddess had intended to bestow on her child.
Well, burning my child,
Thus,
really.
The mayor's child lost its chance at immortality. Suddenly, Isis took off her disguise and revealed her true nature. The mayor and his wife fell down in terror, asking what they could do for the goddess to win her pleasure. Isis asked only for the tree and its contents. When she retrieved her husband's body, she let the mayor and his wife keep the tree, and it became the most prized possession in the town because it had held the physical body of a god. Isis attempted to use her own magic and that of
Blue
Thoth
people.
to restore her husband's form long enough to conceive a son. Before she could finish, Set discovered the body of Osiris and cut it into 14 parts and scattered them up and down the Nile Valley. Again, Isis searched, this time for the various parts of her husband's body. After she had gathered them, she had Thoth help her make her husband whole long enough to acquire his seed. She immediately became pregnant with a son, whom she would come to name Horus. For years, Isis protected her son from discovery by Set and his evil friends. When Horus came of age, he set out to challenge his uncle for the throne of Egypt. The conflict between Horus and Set took many forms. In one instance, both agreed to take the appearance of hippopotami and to fight each other underwater. Isis, fearing for her son, fashioned several harpoons and took flight to throw them at Set. When she threw the first one, Horus cried out, "Mother, stop! You've hit your own son." After a few minutes of searching, she found Set and threw one harpoon after another. The first several either missed or bounced off. Finally, a harpoon struck Set squarely and wounded him. Set cried out for mercy, and Isis took pity on him. She helped him to the shore and nursed his wounds. When Horus heard what his mother had done, he grew so angry with her that he cut off her head and hid it from her in the desert mountain west of the Nile Valley.
Hid it from her.
Realizing Ra, the sun god,
Fucking hell.
with the aid of Isis,
Bit harsh.
he helped to restore her head. In addition, he fashioned a crown of a cow's head and horns to give her added protection. Ra then punished Horus for what he had done to his mother. Despite the leniency shown him, Set still wanted to overcome his nephew. While Horus was recovering from the wounds Ra had given him, Set plucked out his eyes so that the young god was suddenly blind. Thoth found a formula from which he fashioned 2 replacements so that Horus could once see again. In yet another story,
Yeah, and I would recommend that you definitely watch the rest.
Oh my. My. I mean, I don't know if any of you boys have been in Sunday school, and you have to sit there and just listen to the story and go, "Oh yeah, I believe that. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, rose from the dead. Yeah, virgin birth. Yep." And can you imagine being told these stories as a kid? What? I'm just trying to stifle the laughter.
But
she had her head chopped off and hidden from her, and then someone found her head and put it back on.
At least these stories are fucking exciting. compared to the Bible.
Here's the thing. Okay, guys, earlier I was on the rant where I was saying, oh, why would you fucking steal someone else's shit when you can just make up your own shit instead of stealing someone else's made up shit? No, in the case of the Egyptians, I'd steal their made up shit. It sounds way more fun than just making up your own stuff.
You had the 14 pieces of the body, and you had to assemble it just long enough to extract the seed. I would have thought you could just do that from one piece of the body. I wouldn't thought you'd have to put it all back together. But I guess
this is
she wanted the whole thing. She wanted the whole thing in working order.
It's the IKEA body, and if you don't have the Allen, it's the IKEA body, and if you don't have the Allen key, you're fucked.
Well, no, she wants to be fucked. So if you do have the Allen key, you're fucked by the sounds of it. Could she?
Ah, okay.
Because she needed the whole thing back together to get it all in working order by the sounds of it. So she could immediately fall pregnant.
Yeah, and I also loved that she tried to help her son by making harpoons that could hurt the god, and then she accidentally shot her son first.
Yeah, well, when the movie was made of this, if they made the movie of this, so they convert them to hippos and stuff, the movie maker would have to make sure, which the good guy was wearing something, have some sort of necklace on or ring or something, you could tell the difference. Because, I don't blame the goddess, man, when you've got two hippos there. How do you tell which one is who? Unless you're in the movies where, the good guy's wearing the white sash or something or other. Yeah. So I don't blame the goddess, she's got it tough there when they're two hippos.
What I also appreciate from these stories is that they just mention he also taught us to how to make beer, and
it kind of glosses over the whole human achievement. But I guess that probably would have taken generations to figure out anyway, and then they just tell a story. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, guys,
explained
here's the
away.
clincher. Right now in the chat, the guys are actually tuning out the lyrics to "Always Look on the Bright Side." And I was going to draw attention to the fact that the likelihood of actually a life of Brian occurring simultaneously with the whole Jesus stuff, it's kind of likely, you know what I mean, depending on which way you went. But yeah, it's just ironic that these guys have brought it up because I was about to lead into that. So nice segue, fellas. You've been reading the script, which doesn't exist.
And I thought it was really interesting the how the Egyptians they fixed their calendar, and then had to make up some bullshit about how they fixed the calendar. I guess you got to tell the people about why the calendar is now changing, because maybe the story was before, the God gave us the calendar and 360 days in a year is wonderful, as you know, it's all godlike. Then you got to make up some excuse. Okay, yeah, let's make up some mythical story about where we added 5 days.
Yeah.
Well, the Chinese actually had 10-day cycles, 36 cycles for a year, so it probably came via trade there from 36. Now, if you're 5 days out of whack, that would mean in 6 years you're a month off. So in 18 years, you're a whole season out. So, yeah, lucky. Actually, the Romans, that's one of their legacies they left us with, because they had a really... I did look into that, and it's too tricky to remember and explain it all, why February has 28 days and August and July were added and so forth. It's actually a really interesting thing. But the two missing months in Roman culture came from the fact that local politicians used to say, stuff it, we'll have tribute days where I'm the god of parties and everyone likes you because you're calling party days. A bit like the day off before the grand final. People love a public holiday. And because they were making 60 public holidays a year, it kind of got a bit radical. So, yeah. Anyway, we did cover that with Pompey a few weeks back, and that side of the Roman Empire. But anyway,
it's just
I
interesting
do digress.
maybe because I want, you know, the Egyptians were also adjusting their calendar. I don't know where this is in relation to time within the two different cultures, right? They're whether one predates the other or they're happening simultaneously. It's all I bet a scholar
who
would
are you
know.
talking about there?
Well, because it's
Who are you
in this
talking about?
story. Well, this is the Egyptians, right, adjusting their calendar from 360 to 365.
Yep.
And the Romans also adjusted their calendar from 360 to 365 at some point in time. Did they do it at the same time? Did one copy off the other, or both came out independently? I don't know.
The most famous alliance of all suggests yes, because Cleopatra and all the Roman dudes were knocking around together in what was probably the most famous orgy ever. So yeah, very likely that happened. The 5 extra days were discovered.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. I'm sure someone will bring it up in the chat because they're Googling away as we speak. They're Googling up Monty Python lyrics, so I'm sure they'll Google that. Won't you guys? Okay.
But you guys do know why Jesus went to the salon, right?
I didn't know Jesus went to the salon.
To get his nails done.
To get his nails done. Oh, boom, boom. Yes, I had heard. Yes. I think I got a meme for that, yeah.
When we're talking about parties and stuff like that, did you know there were also like party gods in ancient Greeks that were actually like, yeah, this god is like, he is all down for parties and stuff.
Dionysus. He the man.
Yes, party of what? Oh, sorry, I actually didn't Google it up again. I've forgotten what it was. It was pretty much everything. Making beer, sex, yeah, all the good shit. So
yeah,
here's the thing.
Winemaking, and oh man, he was a good god.
Yeah, winemaking, fertility, beer, yeah, the harvest and whatever else. Anything that kind of mattered. Basically getting drunk and fucking each other's asses off her. And so here's the interesting thing as to why we went into the one god. It got all too complicated because you'd have all these different gods. And if you're going to pray to a certain god and it didn't work, you always thought you prayed to the wrong god. So the simplification of just one deity made it easier for the average schmo in the street to grasp a god. You just pray to the one. But I love the old Romans and ancient Greeks ways. It was all more of a soapy and more fun and more movies.
Yeah, well, I just want to correct you on the fucking each other's asses off, because as you pointed out, it's fertility gods. And that's the wrong way to do it if you're interested in fertility.
That is true.
Okay.
But Zeus knew plenty about fertility, even though he was not a fertility god. He might as well been. Let's just watch the video.
He was more a field tester, shall we say. He wasn't the actual god. He was just out there checking to make sure it was working.
Dionysus, god of wine, life of the party, known primarily for being drunk and having some pretty intense fangirls who killed Orpheus that one time. Wears lots of leaves, not a fan of pants, spends most of the day draped in grapes and turning dudes into dolphins. Is there really more to him than that? Oh, is there? Is there ever? But we'll get to that. For now, let's stay simple and cover the basics of the backstory. The official story of Dionysus begins with Zeus, who at this point may as well change his deific designation to God of One-Night Stands, carrying on a semi-secret affair with the mortal woman Semele. Hera, as is her wont, catches wind of their business and decides that she's tired of just outright killing Zeus's children and girlfriends, and for this particular murder, she's gonna mix it up a little with some disguises. Hera transforms into an old woman and ingratiates herself to Semele, who trusts her immediately and confides in her that her boyfriend is Zeus himself. And not only that, she's actually pregnant with his son. But Hera's like, come on, every guy pulls that I'm really Zeus stunt to get a little mortal action. How do you know for sure he's being honest with you? And tells Semele she should make him prove his god status by showing her his true form. So the next time
Actually, a good point. Sorry, I kind of feel like I have to pause this one for copyright reasons because it's a good channel, but a little bit big. But there's a good point, right? Like I can imagine back then, like, don't worry, baby, I'm actually Zeus.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that next time I'm in the pub. Yeah. Because I've got the body of Zeus, right? They always say I have the body of a god, so yeah, I'm sure it'll work. Yeah.
I've always wanted to envisage what. I've always wanted to envisage what Medusa's vagina would look like, but being a chick who's going to turn you to stone, I just couldn't come at it.
When they meet up, Semele makes Zeus promise her a favor, then demands he drop the mortal shape and reveal himself in all his glory. Zeus isn't one to go back on a promise, so he gods it up a little and immediately vaporizes Semele Ark of the Covenant style. But good news, sports fans, the mom may be dead, but the baby lives. Zeus takes little demigod baby Dionysus, that too with the baby, by the way, and sews him into his leg so the kid can finish growing. A few months later, Dionysus is born for realsies, and his exploits can really get started. Keep an eye on that initial theme of rebirth. It's central to some very interesting aspects of his character I'll explore later. But first, shenanigans. Dionysus is, of course, wildly unsafe on Olympus on account of Hera, so Zeus sends him away to be raised in secret. Exactly who raises him varies from telling to telling, with foster parents ranging from Hermes, the titaness Rhea, the mortal king Athamas, and Queen Ino, who raise him as a girl, and even Persephone. Let's also make note of his connection to Persephone in this version. This is all going to come together later, I promise. So Dionysus grows up to young adulthood and begins his classic godly exploits. He starts off by discovering how to make wine, but before he can spread this knowledge to the rest of the world, Hera drives him temporarily crazy, and he wanders around for a while before Rhea fixes his brain. Then he gets on that whole teaching the world how to make wine thing, and wanders pretty far afield. There's a story that Alexander the Pretty Alright stumbled on a town called Nyssa during his journeys along the Indus River, which they told him...
Let's just be fair. He kind of messed up with the wine, got really drunk, and started doing crazy shit, and he just made up that his stepmom drove him crazy. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, I gotcha. And Alexander, was Alexander the Pretty Good? Was it?
Yeah, Alexander the Pretty Good, yeah.
was founded by Dionysus during his meanderings. Dionysus is also a major cutie, which gets him in a spot of trouble when he gets abducted by sailors for unsavory purposes. Of course, they get more than they bargained for, and Dionysus responds by turning the mast and oars into snakes, filling the ship with ivy and the sound of flutes, and possibly turning into a lion. This obviously terrifies and/or maddens the sailors, who leap overboard and are promptly turned into dolphins. You may be wondering, hey, how did the cheerfully drunk god of wine do all that stuff you just said? What does feral wildlife and crippling insanity have to do with a fine Chardonnay? Don't worry about that for now. We'll get there. While it's generally accepted modern canon that Hestia, goddess of the hearthfire, gave up her seat as the 12th Olympian to Dionysus and established his godhood, there's actually no mythological precedent implying that ever happened. Listings of the 12 Olympians will generally include either Hestia or Dionysus, but not both, so people kind of assume he supplanted her, but it's not really clear or established anywhere. He also gives Midas his golden touch, which turned out not good. That was a not good thing that happened. So, now that we've established some canon for Dionysus, forget all that because there is no canon. There is only an endlessly deep well of mysteries and fragmented mythology, and Dionysus is much older and weirder than he seems. To start our dive down this well, a little historical context.
I kind of love that, by the way, that, that he also kind of fucked up by accidentally giving someone golden touch and ruining his life. Like, oopsie. Sorry, dude.
Yeah. I always wondered, how did he masturbate? Because you couldn't really rub one off, could you, without obvious consequences? I suppose you wouldn't have an erectile dysfunction, though, would you? There wouldn't be any erectile dysfunction, though, after it.
How to pee?
Well, we have to call the doctor if the erection lasts for more than an hour, right? You're supposed to call the doctor. So, yeah.
Oh, my God. Okay. All this talk of Dionysus and what he represents, that's pretty hard. So
can you imagine like doctor's office? Yeah, this is Midas. Oh, hello, Midas. How what can I do? Yeah, I got a bit of a problem. As you see, I have an erection for more than an hour. Okay, so how did it come to? Yeah, I got golden touch and I touched my penis. Sorry, sir, can you repeat that? I touched. Oh. Sorry.
Well, but I'll tell you what, after all this gods of beer and sex and drugs and rock and roll, and basically sounds like touring with the Rolling Stones. But anyway, after all this stuff, you'd have to say you'd be feeling pretty hungry, wouldn't you? So tell me, Ards or TT, does blasphemy
we're not going to watch the rest of this, don't we?
Ancient Greece, as we generally conceive of it, got going around 700 BC. Before that, the civilization in the area was Mycenaean Greece, which existed between 1600 and 1100 BC. After it fell apart in the late Bronze Age collapse, there were a few centuries of Dark Ages where nothing really got written down, and then city-states started popping up and Greece got its act together over the course of a couple hundred years, starting around 900 BC. Mycenaean Greece and ancient Greece had a pretty interesting dynamic, since although they were practically speaking different cultures, ancient Greece really seems to have thought of itself as a successor to Mycenaean Greece. Classics like the Iliad and the Odyssey were written in the 700s BC, but explicitly set in the legendary past of Mycenaean Greece. So it's like ancient Greece squared. There was also linguistic rollover. Mycenaean is considered an early form of Greek, but was written in Linear B, a syllabic script which was replaced around 900 BC by the basically modern Greek alphabet, which in turn was derived from the Phoenician alphabet. Anyway, this is important because the majority of the Hellenistic pantheon originated in Mycenaean Greece, and we know this because we found their names in Linear B inscriptions. Dionysus is one of those gods. In most cases, we know very little about what roles they played in the Mycenaean religion, although they seem very different from their classical Hellenized characterizations. Poseidon, for example, seems to have filled the role of head god, and he was treated more as a god of earthquakes than a god of the sea. We do know that...
and you know that earthquake and sea that usually don't go together that well. So
yeah, it's just interesting how things, what we think of as set in concrete, when you actually go and dig it up, go, oh, yep, this has had this whole history of different stories and changes over the time. You wonder what if you actually dig back into all the Bible stories, how much they would have changed over the years. If you could go back and find the original stone tablets or whatever that
the Mycenaean religion.
Well, what Bethany Hughes and the BBC have sort of brought up is the Minoans, which I believe was Crete or something. They were basically thugs that went stealing people and taking them back to their island. So they weren't the wonderful, peace-loving people we were led to believe through mythology. They were quite arseholy, in fact. But history is written by the winners in a lot of cases.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to have put a stronger focus than Hellenism did on worshipping chthonic gods, deities with connections to the underworld, and that Poseidon's Earthshaker epithet designated him as a chthonic god and might have been why he was considered so important, while Zeus, in contrast as a sky god, was barely acknowledged. There's also, fun fact, no Mycenaean equivalent to Hades, although Persephone and Demeter are both Mycenaean in origin. Anyway, regardless of who they used to be, by the time ancient Greece as we think of it got going and we started getting written records again, all those old Mycenaean gods were pretty solidly locked into their new colonized characterizations. Poseidon got nerfed and sidelined and had his chthonic connections minimized. Chthonic gods in general were shunted to the background. Sky god Zeus got to be the most important dude on the block, and everyone adjusted pretty quick. Well, everyone except for Dionysus. See, here's the thing. In the early days of ancient Greek historical analysis, everybody knew that Dionysus was a latecomer to the pantheon, although exactly how late is hard to pin down, but nobody really knew why. Before Linear B was deciphered, the theory was that he was an import god, since a lot of his documented myths had him coming to Greece from somewhere else, or wandering far afield before returning. But after finding his name in Mycenaean Greek inscriptions, that theory went out the window and a replacement was proposed, that Dionysian worship predated ancient Greece and was deliberately suppressed for several hundred years before undergoing modification and being allowed into the Hellenistic pantheon. Since ancient Greece had had kind of a known habit of not exactly promoting equality for all its citizens, this wasn't too crazy of a notion. In essence, what distinguishes Dionysus from the rest of his pantheon is that his character development didn't happen during the Greek Dark Ages, but several centuries after everyone else got with the program. Which is actually pretty appropriate for a guy whose most consistent character trait at this point in history was chronic drunk. But why was he so late to transition? Well, to understand that, we have to understand his cult. And to understand his cult, we have to understand who Dionysus was before he got Hellenized. So let's talk about that. First of all, let's define some names.
I can kind of imagine, like, let's say that those gods were real, like the drunk god waking up a couple of years later after everyone came back from being outcasted for a couple of years, and like, oh, what a mess.
Have you guys gone back down to Earth again? Damn it! You should have woken me up. I like that place.
Yeah.
Bastards. Let me sleep.
I can just imagine. It's like the party bus down to Earth, you know, like, oh, the party bus, yeah, let's all pile in. You had a little high-ace van pulls up with Zeus or someone driving. Grab your stash, boys, we're heading down.
And Dionysus wakes up like, oh, fuck, everyone is gone already, and...
And a couple of hours in heaven could be, who knows, hundreds of years on Earth, man. Jeez.
Yeah, maybe.
When you live forever.
Well, it's not relative at that point, is it? If you're living forever, you don't really have to worry about time. You've got time for everything.
In that other story, when the guy was giving away some percentage of his life, was he a god? Was he infinitely prolonged anyway? So any percent of your life is infinite, really. So you had to get 5 days out of that. There's a little plot hole.
I don't know. It's weird. They were weird stories, man. But
Dionysus is usually
probably also lost in translation and culture, to be honest.
Yeah, well, trying to dig us up from old fragments of stuff, that's...
Yeah, even if you translate it pretty good, there's also a lot of culture and context behind language itself. Yeah. So yeah, it's like,
the name used for the Hellenistic characterization.
Hang on, can you hold us there? Microraptor's brought this up. She heard that the Vikings had contact with the Romans, and yeah, you're pretty right there, Microraptor. Again, Bethany Hughes and those BBC series have covered it. The Vikings did spread a lot, but they more absorbed into the local culture because they never quite got over their tarnished image of thieving people for slavery. So generally speaking, what happened, they absorbed quietly into the culture, and we now know through DNA and various runes and things turning up that the Vikings were a lot more entrenched right across Europe, but they just sort of disappeared and sort of went underground, I suppose. Anyway, you may continue, Mr. Ardoin.
We've already established. Orphic Dionysus is the scary older version embraced by the religion of Orphism, a character.
He sounds more like a punk rock version of his younger brother.
He's basically the Keithy Richards of the gods.
Or maybe death metal. Yeah, the death metal version.
That puts the focus more on themes of death and rebirth. These two have notably different backstories. Confusing matters, Orphic Dionysus has been equated with another figure called Zagreus, and it's unclear whether this was a later syncretism or an early case of multiple names for one god. Orphism, side note, was a 6th century BC religion that basically boiled down to an attempt to understand life and death. It mostly worshipped gods or figures that entered the underworld and left alive, like Orpheus, hence the name Orphic. Other noteworthy figures of worship included Persephone for fairly obvious reasons. But working from this definition, it's unclear why Dionysus would have caught the attention of a cult focused on death and rebirth when it seems like the farthest we can stretch his characterization at this point is drunk and rowdy. What connection did Dionysus have with the underworld that would cause an Orphic cult to favor him? Let's talk about an older story of Dionysus' birth. The first difference between Orphic Dionysus and plain vanilla Dionysus is that he's the son of Zeus and Persephone, while in older fragmentary myths, Zagreus is instead the son of Hades and Persephone. Whichever way the parentage swings, Orphic Dionysus is slated to inherit Zeus' status as king of the gods, which enrages Hera, who gets a bunch of titans to murder baby Orphic Dionysus by ripping him apart and eating him. Athena saves his heart, and with Zeus' help gets him reborn, either by doing the leg implant thing again or sticking the heart in Semele so she can grow a baby around it. Either way, Orphic Dionysus gets reborn reborn after being ritualistically shredded and gets on with the whole being a god thing. This myth predates his Semele parentage and possibly predates ancient Greece overall, since the Mycenaean characterization also featured this theme of dying and being reborn early in life. It handily contextualizes both his theme of rebirth and his weird connection with Persephone that we touched on earlier, as well as giving him an unexpected link with the underworld that we don't see much of in his later characterization. This is strengthened by his Zagreus epithet. Zagreus in his
So yeah, that was. You should definitely check out more, and see. I think that she does a lot of these videos as well. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and she also sounds pretty well researched. She's some academic. She must be an academic in this field, surely, by the sounds of that.
Yes. She has like a 1.5 million subs and like a couple of million views on this video. So
right. Yep. It does sound very interesting, yeah, and crazy. I'm always amazed how crazy these stories get, man.
Yeah.
She's also just got she's got such a pleasant voice too. It just makes you want to keep hearing the story too, as opposed to the first guy we had tonight who was almost text to chat. So obviously, if we went by the script that doesn't exist, I would have probably started that segue about after all the beer, wine, song, and rooting each other's asses off, we be feeling a bit hungry. So, does blasphemy taste so good? And if so, what sort of proof would you have of this artwork? Geez, I hope I got it right then.
Yeah, I have some random guy showing us something about eating blasphemy or something like that. I don't know. Let's just check it out. It's
Okay.
whatever, you know. It's whatever.
Right. All right.
Right, so it is Sunday the 17th of February 2013, over a month from Good Friday, and this is going to be my entry in the Blasphemy Challenge. So, cut to the Blasphemy.
I know that voice.
So, here it is.
$20.
A hot cross bun.
He owes us money. When we find that bastard, a kneecap, it's past the money. It's past the money. We're going to make an example of him.
It tastes so good. Okay, we're back from the blasphemy. Yes. According to an article recently in, it went around the traps on lots of newspapers in Australia. Convention dictates that hot cross buns be served on Good Friday, and the early sales have outraged church leaders who view Easter as the most holy weekend on the Christian calendar. I know what Coles and Woolworths War is about, and it's about making money, said Faith Baptist Church pastor Bill Zayden. But when they turn away from the true meaning of Christmas and Easter and towards commercialization, that's what angers me. So there you have it. I've just committed blasphemy by eating a bun. Blasphemy. It tastes so good.
Yeah. That was. I couldn't believe that a pastor was going to get, and the press published it and made a big deal about, they're selling hot cross buns too early in the stores. So anyway.
So let me get this right. That guy who owes me $20 and you too $20, Arduin. Look, mate, we've got to make an example of him. We've got to do the kneecapping now. If he's got the money, it doesn't matter. He's got to pay us, don't you think? And the cheek of him to turn up on the stream like that, not caring. We're going to have to deal with him when we find him. We've got his web address now, so we're going to hunt him down, I'd say. What do you think, TT guy? Do we give this guy the hiding he deserves or not?
I think you should extort him for I think he should have to turn over all his YouTube earnings to you. That would probably be a fair compensation, I would think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, but by the way, that bastard, he has. If you look on his YouTube channel right now and look at his number of subscribers, he's got 666 subscribers. So he's got the mark of the devil. Really? That bastard, mark of the devil, mark of the beast.
Someone should save his soul by subscribing to him.
No, don't do it. I think he likes having 666 subscribers. That would ruin it.
Yeah, I think we know what to do. Okay. We now have our punishments sorted out.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there was a blasphemy challenge on YouTube, and I can report that after blaspheming like that, I did not have any bad luck. So, because I think that was the thing. People would blaspheme and then saw if you got any bad luck. So,
yeah. Hey, well, how's this, TT guy? You'll love this, but I know this guy who's got a YouTube channel, right? A couple of 100 subs or whatever, puts in a lot of effort. And, like, he's got quite a few things interesting and sort of, across the board stuff. It's all there worth looking at. And yet, of all of his subs and different views, his bloody cat has got 2 30-second videos up, and they've got nearly 1,000 views. It's like 400 and 500 views on either of the cat videos. I mean, when I saw this, I fucking pissed myself laughing. What would you feel if you were that guy, TT? Or like, how would you feel knowing your cat was kicking your fucking ass with nearly 1,000 views? Oh,
Boomer.
Yeah.
How long?
Yeah.
How long do you have a YouTube channel for?
Mine? Oh, mine's about 6 months old, I guess.
Yeah. How many videos did you make?
One.
Sorry?
Anyway,
what did you say?
let's
One.
Okay.
One.
Okay. And where is that video about?
Cat.
What? Sorry?
Pussy?
No.
A cat. It's a cat, all right? It's one video, it's a cat.
We shouldn't have a dick measuring contest about YouTube. Let's not have a dick measuring contest about YouTube subscribers. Okay, that's not very exciting.
TT,
that's very dull television.
Hey, TT, you're stepping on this, actually. Come on, so go on, Artemis. We did rehearse this, by the way.
Yeah, we did. We were practicing this one for days. So how many views?
Oh, sorry.
So how many views does your video have? Huh?
Well, my cat's got the most views. Well, but on that note, it's also got the worst performing video too. But okay, well, this interview is over. This is all based on speculation. You've got nothing on me. Contact my lawyers. All right, that's it. I'm over. I'm out of this. And besides, we went off script, so you've got nothing. Okay. All right, we're on the fucking 7. Oh my God, it's getting hard. This Fluffy, we've taken Fluffy pretty hard, guys. I've got to say, it's been a Trojan effort to put our morning to side. But are we sort of getting close to doing a wrap? We're on 140. Are we to the ends of things? So, look, I've got to have a bit of a story without pinning too many tickets on myself. Apparently, there was a rather tragic sporting episode last week, which involved the super team of Reg Rhetoric, Planawalk and Draco, I forget his name, against the measly team of Mr. Sensible, myself, and Brainy Beaver on Stupidity Is Not a Right. And we were getting us seriously whipped. But I've got to say, a young up-and-coming performer stepped up to the plate and managed to pull out the joke of the season and almost got the team back to only be defeated by 4-6, not 1-6. So, and that guy was me. Oh, God, sorry, I'll just sort of give you a bit from my resume there, but we've got Fight the Flat Earth, the Stupidity Is Not a Right coming up tomorrow with Sprinkles and myself. So who else? You got the shill there, guys. Now I've done my little plug.
Yeah, well, I of course got the shield at the QED show yesterday. Was pretty good. You might be surprised to hear a voice that you might recognize over there. No, I had a lot of fun there yesterday with Ugly German Truce and Cheesy, who is a wonderful host.
Apparently, you attempted to kill him. Is that right? Did you nearly achieve death?
I almost killed Cheese Mondo before the show even started, and yeah.
Well, you have to post a link to that in the chat or something, because I'd like to go and watch that. I'm not really familiar with this show, so yeah. As you describe it, it sounds interesting.
QED is questionable education, and it's the brainchild of Colin, he's still in the chat and still awake. That's good. And that was
he can spam
it. Channel. Yeah, so we can throw it up in the description later, and we'll get it to you there. But hey, Colin, it's run a couple now. We're liking what we're seeing. Good work, my friend. And I'm sure Artemin can reinforce that to you. So how did you know he killed Cheese?
I still hate Colon.
Well,
we all do. Nice. We know. We know how you feel.
In this season of forgiveness, shouldn't be like this. Yeah. Anyway, I've just spammed in the chat my latest bit of blasphemy. Zombies roaming the earth. Zombies have roamed the earth 4 times. See your Bible. So yeah. Go and have a watch that.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And that is pretty much all I have to show. Of course, our dear
Well-
friends on the American show. What did they do today?
Well, it was kind of funny. It started with one of those right-wing douches, sort of a Trump magatard, and it was just so bad the way he was going on there, really butthurt from the old Mr. Trump no longer having his office, that we kind of changed the stream mid-drift and just went off into another world. In fact, I don't know, I've had a sleep since then, so it went off the rails really well, but landed back on them. So that's worth a watch, the US stream. It did start with how stupid can you be? This is not a challenge, but then it kind of went stupid. I think they called it what's happened to this stream, Jesus sprinkles. So it's worth a watch. Nice
That's
little hour and
pretty
a
good. Sounds
quarter or
pretty
so.
good.
Quality Bunker 33 stuff. Yep, the EIE gang took a bit of a time off for Easter, I think. Is that what happened over there?
Well, they're
They
all
didn't
deep in
do the
Easter,
shills or pub chat this week. Yep.
Probably go to
Well,
church a lot.
as we all know, Easter. Yeah, go to church, get resurrected. Now, what's this excitement about Fluffy? Have we seen has Fluffy turned up anywhere on the security cameras, Arduin?
No,
What Fluffy is missing?
I've kind of had it. So probably next week I'm gonna launch my Doomsday machine.
Not the
You
Doomsday
would
Machine.
need a Doomsday machine. Right.
Yeah.
What's a Doomsday machine?
Well, I guess we're gonna have to find out next week.
Ah.
That's
So
a
is
plug
that
for the
the
next
rather
week's movie.
clever? Yeah, so is that the clever and cunning movie commentaries that a couple of the more handsome devils who are good at the sex at Bunker 33 have come up with? Would that be right?
That would be right.
Okay. And so that's going to be this time, which we're thinking is 8 p.m. Australian, not daylight savings time. God, this has been a head fuck with daylight savings.
Oh,
Every place in the world seems to change at a different time. You
So
need
we're
a
gonna start an
fucking
hour
degree
later.
in astronavigation.
Starting
Yes,
now
we'll be
later.
trying to do our normal. We'll try to do our 8 p.m. time slot, but who knows? What do you think, Arduin? Because you Euro gang, it's mid-morning for you, so we'll work it out. But anyway, around this time.
Yeah. So thanks for watching, guys. I actually learned a lot about all the wonderful, amazing gods, and I gotta say that the ancient gods are a lot more interesting than the boring Christian ones. And I guess with that,
Yeah.
I have to bid you farewell.
Good night, folks.
Led Zeppelin is the one true religion.
If you say so. Bye.